Speaker of the House of Nigeria's House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, and his deputy Idris Wase got into a confrontation on Wednesday over an issue relating to the sitting of the House. According to reports, trouble started when the Speaker's instruction to Chairman Rules and Business to have fewer items on the order paper was not carried out. Gbajabiamila was said to be headed to the commissioning of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies. However, his deputy, Idris Wase, challenged his decision, noting that the House cannot afford to be wasting time on commissionings while the business of the House is left undone. How much of the business of the House is private and how much for the national good? Well, RISE analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us. It's good to have you with us as always.
Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure being here.
All right, so you've heard the intro. What are your thoughts on the genesis of this? Is there something more to this issue?
More than meets the eye.
Yes.
But I think it's more of a succession spat. The party has picked a speaker-elect, and it is not the deputy speaker. Because what happened is a very simple thing on agenda setting, you get me, and management of time. That should not degenerate into a situation whereby the speaker himself will say he has never seen a situation where somebody will be querying what the speaker has said on the floor of the House. And he put his foot down and insisted what he has said will pass. So what that has shown, obviously, is that there are some sour grapes between the deputy speaker and both of them are outgoing anyway.
Yes.
So there are some sour grapes. And again, I insist, it should not degenerate into a personal spat because they are both experienced people and they have not done this before. And then what it has shown is that it has exposed the sort of speaker that Wase will be if eventually he gets there. What are the duties of a speaker? To regulate proceedings, to make sure that discipline is maintained on the floor of the House. And a speaker is a primus inter pares because they are all elected, responsible people, and they know the rules, they are expected to know the rules. For him to have queried the speaker so that he has scant regard for discipline, and then on a lighter note, but even more seriously, where was the speaker going to? Or where was he asking them to find time for? The National Institute of Democratic and Legislative Studies.
Yes.
If you know this Gbajabiamila, he has been fighting for that building to be open for a long time. Because that institute provides capacity building functions for them, for training, research on how to vet bills, do bills, then they have international relations with other parliaments all over the world. Yeah. So he holds that this is very high esteem. That's why he was lecturing his deputy that if you do not know the importance, I know the importance. And he put his foot down. You see, what I would recommend, like I said almost earlier, is that maybe they should send Wase back for some refresher course and at the institute that he seems to have scant regard for.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't see why that should happen.
Okay.
Duly noted, Mr. Sobowale. Now, what you mentioned is that they are going.
Yes.
So I think, or I'm wondering what you think about the lessons that could be learned from what we witnessed between Wase and Gbajabiamila that we could see in the incoming National Assembly.
Yes, it's a poor example, but luckily it's a terminal example. You get me? It's not a good example for those who are coming in new. Do you get me now? Wase is an experienced person. Gbajabiamila is they have vetted house committees, important committees, that they've been there for long. So for example, for new legislators who are coming into the House. But then, you see, the legislature is meant for debates. That means for disagreement over issues, to sort out issues. But it should not be on agenda or time to spend between the speaker and the deputy. It is not done. The speaker is the chief operating administrative disciplinary officer of the National Assembly, and it should be respected as such.
All right. You also said the speaker put his foot down, and of course the instruction to be carried out to a large extent. So, what is the significance of that?
That's leadership, firmness. Firmness. Distinguish that. You should distinguish that from authoritarianism, where you don't allow people to talk, or you coerce people, or impose your opinion on people. He repeated. He said it's two issues. He made it clear to him that he has not seen this before, and that what I've said, he repeated it, that I have the authority. That's control. Administrative, constitutional, legislative. Right. That's work, pure control. That's a mark of leadership.
Do you see any reason with Wase's outburst? Do you see anything vital, any points that he raised that are crucial, even if his approach was not the best?
He has not done anything good here. That's why I said he should be sent on the refresher course. He should not allow his personal animosity, you get me? Because he will eventually come to the same house to elect a speaker. It's not to be done outside. What his grouse is that Miller supported the choice of the party for speaker and deputy speaker, and it's out. He probably sees himself as heir apparent. And that dream is moving into thin air right before his eyes. So he's losing control.
Okay, so
a clear case of
and both men are within the same party, as it were. So how do you think, if this issue is left the way it is and not resolved between both of them, how is the party? Is the party even doing enough to call them to order? And
I don't think it's a big issue. I do not think it's a big issue. But because the race to pick the speaker is on, get me? And the party has made its choice, and people want, if possible, for the party to make last-minute changes. But to me, once he has eliminated himself by shooting himself in the leg, by being duly hasty, and almost insolent to the speaker.
And this hasn't
happened. The legislator has no right to violate the rules of the House.
And this is happening at the point of exit,
Yes.
Regarding that as well. So they've never had this issue before.
At all. That's why Bajamia said he has never seen. It's not done. It's like a court of law. The judge is talking. Somebody is saying that, why are you saying that?
But do you see any steps?
Contempt, legislative contempt too.
Oh, yes. Great. Do you see steps towards the resolution between these two, or is this?
It's not a big deal. I'm sure they must have seen thereafter. But it is in the public domain already, and it has shown the sort of leadership potential as speaker that the deputy speaker has. So to me, he has lost out. He should have demonstrated more tact, diplomacy, and be patient to see things through on the floor of the House, rather than heckling his boss. It's not done. So parliamentary.
Yeah. Now, some may argue that, okay, fine, he has a freedom of expression, even if to do a critique, but it has to be factual and strategic, as it were.
You see, it has to be honorable. They are honorable members, are they not? Honorable members of the Nigerian legislature. So they have to be seen to be proper and be above board. Even if you have to disagree, you disagree procedurally, according to the rules of the House, especially if you hold a high office as the number 2 man in the House. So, for example.
But does this also display the level of dissatisfaction with the way the party has handled these crucial positions that have been on for weeks in terms of whether it was being zoned here and there? Is this a display of the frustration that those who feel somewhat cheated feel?
Look, that's what I say. What you are doing is a fallacy of generalization. You are escalating the matter.
I'm just
That is
asking if this is a
an
symptom.
unfortunate disagreement, public spat between the speaker and his deputy, which is best forgotten.
So
You are
you're saying
fomenting the revolution.
I'm only asking you.
I don't see it that way.
Okay.
And I know Wase would have regretted his outburst or his contentious manner in which he has addressed his speaker. But then, what is important is that discipline, order was maintained by the speaker. So the authority is not lost.
So to a large extent, based on what you said about their experience, both men actual experience,
Yes.
the issue of procedural, knowledgeability about how to do things within the House also came to the fore here. And of course, the Speaker had his way.
You see, it's a case of sour grapes. You get me? Normally, it will not happen. But you know, there is a succession battle which the Deputy Speaker feels he is losing. But now he has permanently lost it, because if he had chances before, we will just tell him that you don't even know the rules, that you must listen to the speaker or allow the speaker to regulate what is going on in the House. That's over ambition.
Duly noted. Many thanks, Arise News analyst Mr. Dayo Sobowale. It's been a pleasure as always.